Hello friends, welcome to my channel. We are discussing the 1983 World Cup with the guests who had witnessed those moments. In the previous video, we experienced the journey till the practice matches. In this video, we will continue the 1983 journey post the practice matches. Was it really a cakewalk for the Indian team? Without further delay, let's begin.
Ray of hope started in the previous tour versus the West Indies. There was a match in Guyana which India won versus West Indies. So do you remember anything?
Yeah, in fact, India had gained some initiative in winning that ODI matches against the West Indies in the previous tour when they went just before the World Cup. India had won the match and scoring good runs. I think they scored 285 or something like that. And in reply, the West Indies were short by about 30-40 runs. So this itself was actually a kind of a foundation for the Indian team to, go ahead in preparation for this World Cup actually.
Mr. Kalidas, do you concur to
Yeah,
that?
I recall that match India won. In fact, they didn't win very many. I think they won the last match of that ODI series in the West Indies in Guyana. I think Gavaskar scored some runs, if I recall correctly. But then, that was actually the impetus which India got. But then I don't attribute that winning to India's winning the match against the West Indies the first time round, because West Indies were completely invincible. The kind of cricket that they had and the way they played, there was an unbelievable side, and I think it was more overconfidence than anything else that resulted in the West Indian loss. And that's exactly the reason why also I felt they lost the final also. So I think I wouldn't say that was the win that India had in the West Indies was a stepping stone. Were it so, then they wouldn't have performed as badly as they did in the run-up to the World Cup in terms of losing all the practice games. I don't think that was basically it was overconfidence on the part of the West Indies that contributed to the loss in the first match.
Mr. Surya, do you remember anything else of the first match?
As I said, going into the World Cup, the choice was between Ashok Malhotra and Yashpal Sharma. And at that point of time, Yashpal Sharma was a slightly better fielder and definitely more productive in the matches leading up to the World Cup. So all eyes were on him, and he played a brilliant knock. I think he scored more than 75, 80 odd runs he scored in that match. And not only in that match, it was, of course, he continued his performance throughout the tournament. And India bowled very well. And that was the first time. I mean, it did not give much of a hope as far as the World Cup, what would happen in the future World Cup was concerned. But at least India showed that they had a good set of fighters in the team. That was the match which showed that in the English conditions, Amarnath, Binny, Madan Lal, Balwinder Singh Sandhu, Walson did not play, and Kapil Dev himself. They will not be, they will not be a pushover. That was the first indication we got in that match, that we are not going to be pushovers as far as this tournament is concerned, thanks to the bowling. Not much as far as the batting is concerned. Batting was full of question marks, as it was throughout the tournament. And the problem West Indies batsmen had, West Indies batsmen, as you know, it started with Desmond Haynes, Greenish, there were Clive Lloyd, Richards, Larry Gomes, Backus, even Dujong was there. So these guys were very comfortable playing against the quick deliveries, playing something which comes onto the bat more quickly. They were used to that 135, 140 range, and none of the Indian bowlers would cross 130, 132. That was what West Indies should have realized at that point of time as to what brand of cricket they should be playing in the World Cup. But West Indies being West Indies, they are almost like Kapil Dev. They play instinctive cricketer. They don't bother, and the team was too strong. In the bowling, they had Roberts, they had Holding, Garner, Marshall. India bowled exceedingly well, almost like like a mini Richard Hadley, Sneddon, and these guys, Scatfield. So that was the first match which gave not a confidence, but at least a feeling that, okay, we will not be a pushover. That was the only statement India made in that first match.
match versus West Indies, that was a rain-affected match. So when we batted first, the pitch was good. It was a pata wicket, as we say, a batting wicket. We scored around 260 odd runs. There was rain. I think West Indies lost 1 or 2 wickets, and then there was rain. It continued to the next day, and the next day the wicket became a different devil altogether. So that is where this comes. The England condition, the English condition is also very dicey. So if there is a rain, or if there is even a cloud cover in the morning, it's okay. Suddenly there is a cloud cover, the whole dimension of the game changes. So the match that Mr. Surya said, the first match gave us a ray of hope. But was there somewhere a feeling that this is just a fluke? It's just that, like the way we played in Guyana, we won the match in Guyana.
I felt that it was a flash in the pan, believe me. And I had no hope even after that. It's only when India beat Australia later in the tournament. They beat them in Chelmsford, I remember, in Essex. And that is when I thought that yes, India did have a chance. But until that happened, I thought that we were never having any chance. So it was one of those flash in the pan performances, and I thought it was a fluke, and it was an off day for the West Indies. And I didn't give much credit to India as much as I gave discredit to West Indies for their overconfidence.
What he says gives a perspective, because we lost to Australia a couple of matches later, and we lost by a huge margin. We lost by 162 runs.
162 runs.
Yeah, so
we beat them the second leg.
Yes. So the
112 runs.
Yeah. So for the first one, we lost by 162 runs, and then we come back to the West Indies second leg match. The West Indies came out with a double vengeance. They had lost 2 back-to-back matches, one in Guyana, one in the first match, and they had come with a double vengeance. Do you remember anything of that? I mean, just to put a perspective on the fearsome bowling attack. Do you remember, Mr. Narayanan? I would like to go to
I would just like to say that India was also playing quite well in that match also, and we had our specialist batsman Vengsarkar, who was scoring quite freely. He and Amarnath were batting quite well, but the unfortunate part was that Vengsarkar got injured, and the moment he got injured, the rest of the batsmen started crumbling, and India, I think, lost the match by 66 runs or something like that. And that particular match, he was batting very well. What would have happened had he continued, we don't know. But of course, the end result was that India lost the match.
Mr. Surya, your views on this, on the West Indies batting and the Indian batting and the fearsome bowling of the West Indians?
It was coming. Like, we could feel it that West Indies are going to come hard at us. And the biggest problem was always going to be their 4 fearsome fast bowling. And as I said, it was always going to be their batters versus our bowlers. It was not going to be our batters versus their bowlers. It was always going to be our bowlers who will win or will do something for us. And you don't see often that big teams and a powerful 6-7 batsman team like West Indies failing twice in a tournament. And West Indies had all the experience. It's a 60-over match. So we saw it coming that it's going to be tough. So at that point of time, I was always automatically calculating on whether we could get past Zimbabwe in both the matches, because it's a round robin, 2 matches per team, and whether we could beat Australia at least in one of the matches. So that if you have three wins, we already won the match against West Indies. So you are getting almost 16 points. So it is boiling down to that crucial match will be against Australia. We have taken for almost granted that we'll win against Zimbabwe. But this match, I saw it coming that it's going to be hard. And of course, Vengsarkar batted well, and the Indian bowlers also showed some grit. But the West Indies clearly were too dominant in that match. And in fact, they played almost as if that was the final. That was the difference between the two teams. And I don't think India had any chance to survive in that match. They performed very well to lose against them by only 66 runs. The first match, as I said, the first victory against West Indies and then losing against the West Indies by only 66 runs. Not reading into the semi-finals, the only thing that was going on through our minds in 1983 at that point of time, that we are not going to be pushovers. We are going to come back with some more respect than what happened in 75 and 79.
I was not surprised at all that we lost, but I had no expectation that India would repeat their performance in the first leg.
Mr. Narayanan, like we said, West Indies had a great fearsome foursome bowlers.
Yeah.
Roberts, Garner, Malcolm, Marshall, and Michael Holding. But what was so different about the West Indians bowler? Why were the players so afraid of the West Indian bowlers?
I think the first and foremost is that there was no helmet wearing those days. And all these bowlers were so accurate and they could bounce the ball so much. They were really fearsome in those days. Nowadays, putting so many skull cap and helmets of different varieties and all that, your confidence adds throughout the body nowadays. So facing Brett Lee or Shoaib Akhtar, regime has, cannot be compared at all with these fearsome four bowlers.
I think the Clive Lloyd was the first captain to introduce a single dimensional attack, and I thought these were the most fearsome four fast bowlers that the world of cricket has seen. Michael Holding was the Rolls Royce of fast bowlers. That's so graceful, he used to run, like a gazelle, and that's why he was nicknamed as Whispering Death. Now, when it comes to Joel Garner had, he was, of course, he never came to India, 6'8" tall, and he was almost delivering from top of the side screen. So, at that, when he was delivering the ball, when the point of delivery was like that, and very, very accurate, unbelievably accurate, Joel Garner was. Of course, Malcolm Marshall, I saw him make his debut in India. Therefore, these people, this foursome, normally fast bowlers hunted in pairs. Now here there was no respite at all. If you finished Roberts' spell, you had Holding, you had Garner, you had Colin Croft. I mean, don't forget Colin Croft was also another deadly bowler. So there was absolutely no respite. So this is actually my perspective, and there was no comparison. It was so fearsome, and I think as Mr. Narayan put it rightly, the fact that there was no protective gear also made them so very invincible.
The roller coaster of the events that unfolded gave us a feeling that the upcoming journey would not be a cakewalk for the Indian team. Was this then the end of the road for us? Stay tuned for the next episode. If you like this video, then please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel. See you next week. Stay safe, stay healthy.